Hello, everyone. Well, we are back and we are focused on this mid-aged women who are going through perimenopause and beyond. Diet. We all know food as medicine, but do we really actually use that? That's the topic today. Does diet play a role or not? Well, we have Judith with us. She is a nutrition coach joining me live from UK, and she can also share her story, how she coped up when she was going through perimenopause. Thank you so much, Judith, for joining me.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Let's just start with what should we do, women, when we start entering that phase from a dietary point of view? What kind of changes should we start making to our diet?
When we're looking at the diet for perimenopause, I like to be a bit of a nag, and I like to start before perimenopause, because if we wait till we get to perimenopause, it's a lot harder and it takes a lot longer to get the results we're looking for. So the kinds of dietary things we want to be working with here are the things that we already all know, but mostly don't want to do. Things like give up the refined sugar, anything that has refined sugar in it. And that's really, we're looking for anything on a label that says OSE. Your OSE words are your sugars. We want to get rid of that. High fructose corn syrup, all the refined sugars will mess things up really, really badly for us. So we want to get rid of that. So you're thinking soda pop, packaged goods, just all kinds of different things. So we want real food. We want to increase our vegetable intake. Most of us don't eat nearly enough vegetables, right? And so the more leafy greens and the more the cruciferous vegetables we can get, the better off we'll be. And I know some people say, but I don't like vegetables. And okay, my little sarcastic line is put on your big girl panties and suck it up and just eat them, right? Because it's good for you and it's going to help you. There's things in broccoli that we know really help with balancing the hormones. We need to get enough protein. I'm not fussy as to whether it's all vegetarian. That's a big leap for a lot of women to make. And I don't push anyone to be all vegetarian, but I will often suggest, number one, increase the amount of protein you're getting on a daily basis and throw in some vegetarian protein once in a while, just so you're not coping with so many hormones that are added to commercial meats. Of course, if you're doing wild meat or organically raised meat, then you're probably in a better zone with your animal proteins anyways. The one really huge thing two things that we need to take away that most women rebel against are, I take away all alcohol, because that, number one, has a lot of refined carbs and a lot of simple carbs, more than refined. And it really can trigger some intense vasomotor reactions for some women. The other one, and this is the one that, women hate me for this, and I'm so sorry, but I didn't make the rules and I didn't create the biology that does this. We take away all coffee and black tea and green tea. I actually don't care if it has caffeine in it, if you're getting caffeine. If you want caffeine, go get a caffeine tablet from the bodybuilding store. But it's the actual things that the rest of the coffee, the rest of the acids and things, and the nutrient depletion that coffee, black tea, and green tea create, that for so many women make all of perimenopause and all of menopause an absolute nightmare.
Wow, I would have never thought not to drink green tea. What kind of tea should women drink during that phase? That's number one. And then the second thing is, there's a lot of research on seed cycling. Like they talk about it actually, the PCOS, PCOD. Do you want to comment a little bit on that? Does seed cycling work for perimenopausal women as well? And if they're not doing green tea, what kind of other tea should we drink?
Pretty much anything. There's so many different herbal teas out there that I would go for just about any of them. I like to make my own herbal teas because I am a master herbalist. And so I will make my own blends with oat straw and spearmint and raspberry leaves and rose hips and just all kinds of things and make it taste absolutely yummy and wonderful. And it's not that people need to be drinking tea. I think what we're doing is fulfilling what I call the ritual of the warm mug. People like a warm cup of something to drink. And so just put any kind of a herbal tea in there pretty much, and you're going to be doing yourself a huge favor. For specific symptoms, we might want to use specific herbs, but if you're using it for a beverage, have a wide variety of different herbal teas and experiment with them to see which ones feel the best for you. The question of seed cycling. I've experimented with that with many of my clients, both who have PCOS, because that's a special area of interest for me, and for my menopausal women. And I have found that it doesn't seem to have much impact at all. So I'm not a huge fan of things that are what I consider to be fussy and that take a lot of management. We're not going to get good follow through, but the clients that do follow through, I've not found great results with it. So I don't worry about it.
Okay. So I know your journey when you were going through perimenopause, you mentioned that you were having 6 hot flashes. That was a big problem. Talk to us a little bit about how you dealt with it. In addition to food, that's fine too, because women want to hear other women's stories.
Yeah. Well, because my specialty for all of my 4 decades of work, and this is like 3 decades ago that I was doing the menopausal transition, my specialty has always been women's health. And so with that many years of experience, when I had my first hot flash, it was like, what? I am not allowed to do that. I know better than that. I've got my diet in place. I work out regularly. I know what I'm doing. Why am I having a hot flash? And by the time I'd had about 5 or 6 of them over the course of a few days, it was like, this is not happening. We are going to stop this. And so for myself, and this will be different for every woman, of course, because my diet was really in place. I have almost no refined foods in my diet. My diet's very whole food oriented. And I don't drink coffee, tea, or alcohol. I just never have. It's never been something I've needed to do. I didn't have any of those things really to correct. So the thing I needed to do was examine, where am I at and why is this happening? And for me, when we're looking 10, 12 years ago, when I went through this, we've had 7 children. We still had several of them at home. I have my own business. I was the primary financial support for our family as my husband was going into retirement and setting up some other things on the side. So there was a lot on me. And I realized that for me, it was my adrenal glands that were struggling. And so I went after them with a lot of nutrients, the best quality B vitamins that I could find that were right for my chemistry. Did a lot of rhodiola and astragalus and herbs that would support the adrenal glands and kind of give them some love and get them to do their job right. What I see with so many of my clients is that whether we're talking perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, if they're having those hormonal symptoms, 9 times out of 10, it's because the adrenal glands are stressed. And they've been abused for how many years? I mean, it's what we do as women. We take care of everybody else and not ourselves, right? And so when I see the adrenal glands are failing is a strong word. When I see they're struggling, I will go in and support. And that's what I did. I supported the adrenal glands, my adrenal glands, and literally instantly hot flash is gone. And it's like, never looked back. Just keep moving forward.
How did you know? Was there any test that you did? I mean, since you are a provider, I mean, you are an expert, so you knew. So is there a Dutch test or some particular type of test that you did on yourself, or did you seek a practitioner to find out that adrenal gland indeed was the culprit here?
I did not do any testing. I simply assumed that with the load I was carrying and with having 7 children spread out over 18 years, so still had some teenagers at home, that I was probably stressed out. And what harm could there be in feeding the adrenal glands? And I find that that is a truth for most of my women, even women who don't have 7 children. You know, women who maybe didn't have any children or have 1 or 2 children and they're grown and they're gone and they're independent now. Most women have spent so many years taking care of children, partners, probably working outside the home. By the time we hit perimenopause and menopause, we're often also caring for aging parents, which is where I was. So I had it from both sides, and you can't carry that load really well, even with superb nutrition, without supporting the adrenal glands. It's just a fact of life. When we think about menopause and we go back 100 or 150 years, it was uncommon for women to live into their 50s or 60s, right? They were often dying late 40s, early 50s. They'd had their children, life was hard, and they would die. So they didn't experience menopause. Now that we've got life extension because we are not exposed to the elements, we like to think we have better nutrition. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We've got medical care that can extend our lives. Things are so different lifestyle-wise. Most of us are living well beyond menopause, and so we're experiencing this. When women died around the age of 50, they didn't experience what it was like to have adrenal glands that were struggling and were not recovering, right? And I think that's where the big difference is for us now. Is I like to say women's lib has done us no favors. We have taken on more responsibilities, and I don't know that that's really good for our adrenal glands.
No, you're absolutely right. And this is the last question I'm going to ask you. You look great for a postmenopausal woman. So what is it that you do on a diet and other things to keep yourself and look so amazing and have the right energy, right? The mindset is also important, not only the physical part. So share your secrets with us.
Yeah, diet is important. Good relationships, super important. I am truly blessed. My husband and I are coming up to our 43rd anniversary this summer. So having a loving, supporting relationship where, there's a lot of give and take and where we're constantly there. We like to say we've got each other's backs. When he's going through a challenge, I'm there for him. When he knows I'm carrying a load, he's there for me. For example, in the last 5 years, I've been building the teaching end of my business, which means I'm working long days and often teaching well into the evening. And he's taken over all of this evening meal preparations for me. So I just finished teaching and I can go out and there's dinner on the table ready and waiting. So, just things like that where we've got each other's backs. I take supplements. I take a fair amount of supplements because I realize the load that I put on myself. Even though our children are now grown and independent, that doesn't mean I'm not still a mom and now a grandma, right? And so there's responsibilities there and an aging mother who still needs some help. So I take a lot of supplements to fill in gaps. I'm also absolutely faithful with getting some time for myself every day. Whether it's 20 minutes of yoga or going for a walk or getting a good workout, I make sure I get some me time, and that's always physical activity, whatever I feel like I need that day. Some days I need to go for a run in the park. Some days I need a gentle walk through the community. Some days, like I said, it's yoga or it's a resistance training. It's something that's just for me. Nobody else gets to have that time. It's just for me. And I think that is so important. And it's something that as women, we often forget that in order for us to give our best to other people, we have to take for ourselves. And that's, the airplane oxygen mask thing. We need to put on our oxygen mask first in order for us to be well enough to be supportive and bright and everything that other people need us to be. So it's really a complete lifestyle thing for me.
I think that's what we are trying to educate, is that women have to change their lives. And it's not necessarily when the perimenopause, it needs to happen before that. But we only do a quick 10-minute, 15-minute session. Anything else to add? Any course you're welcome to say or anything before we wrap up?
Yeah, in general, when we're talking about a course for any woman, and I don't teach this course very often, it comes around about once a year, once every 18 months. So I don't even think it's on my website right now. Not great business, but I teach a course called Women's Holistic Health, and it is 9 classes that take you right from puberty right through till when you die. All teaches all the basics about hormones, about diet, about nutrition, about supplements, about problems we run into at various stages of our female lives, and how we can have more control over our health. So I guess the easiest way to find out about that is when it's coming up. I usually put it on my website, which is cobblestonehealth.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing your journey. I'm not going to go into what kind of supplements you take now, because that's very personalized based on each and every woman, and they should seek an expert before they start popping in all kind of supplements, right? Would you agree to that?
I totally agree with that, 100%. So many of my clients take a lot of supplements. They're taking a lot before they come in to see me, and I have to weed through it and let them know that those things are not really appropriate for what you need to work on right now. These things are, but you're not taking enough of the right kinds of things. So yeah, we really need to be very well educated, or we need to be working with a professional who can help us create a program that is appropriate.
Right. Well, thank you so much. Very insightful, very interesting. To all of you out there, we are coming up with a package program on menopause. We are going to be like the menopause platform around the world. So stay tuned. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you for that. Bye-bye.